The EMD ST40 series is one of the most numerous types of locomotives to ever be produced in railroading history, with over 5,000 units built in total since the mid-1960s. This includes the more well-known SD40-2 variant, in addition to the original SD40, as these 6-axle special duty units can be found on almost any railroad in North America, with many still in service to this day. Some of these units were so reliable that some railroads extended their service life even further, as they were rebuilt into another variant known as the SD40-3. However, of the thousands of SD40s which were produced by EMD, one of these locomotives has been rebuilt and reclassified not once, but twice throughout its service life, as it's the only one of its kind to be registered as an SD40-4. Like the rest of the members in its class, the story of this SD40 begins with the production of the first SD40 in 1966. Around this time, many railroads are struggling to compete against road transport and trucking with highways, as many railroads have no choice but to merge to stay active. One of these mergers was the infamous Penn Central, a combination of the rivaling Pennsylvania and New York Central railroads, whose service was so poor that the railroad filed for bankruptcy only 2 years after formation. Despite the crippling financial status of these railroads, they continued to purchase reliable locomotives from Electromotive Division, or EMD, whose newest model offered versatile service with a comfortable ride. This model in particular was the SD40, with the SD representing special duty and the 40 representing the model number 40, as it was sold along with the SD38, SDP40, and SD45, which all had the new 645 prime mover. Since this model was initially produced in 1966, and since the Pennsylvania Railroad ordered 65 of these units, they were quickly inherited into Penn Central, who was so pleased with their performance that they ordered an additional 45 units in 1971, numbered 6240 to 6284, with the locomotive to be focused on, number 6259, being built in December of 1970. This engine could be found all throughout the Penn Central system, with other SD40s carrying mainline freights, particularly on the former Pennsylvania Main Line between Harrisburg and Pittsburgh pulling coal trains. After 8 years of struggling in financial turmoil, Penn Central was merged with 7 other struggling Northeastern Class 1s in 1976 to form Conrail. With this mega merger of the Northeast, the roster of this government-owned railroad became more diverse, as 6259 joined a fleet of other SD40s inherited from the Central Railroad of New Jersey, as well as a wide variety of other second-generation EMDs and GEs from the Lehigh Valley, Erie-Lackawanna, and Reading, as most of them had their CR stencils placed on the top of their former railroad's logo. 6259 gained these stencils around 1977 and was eventually repainted with the iconic Conrail blue around 1982, as it continued to pull mainline freights on the former Pennsy Main Line. By 1993, Conrail launched a rebuild program to upgrade a limited number of their existing SD40s to the more numerous and successful SD40-2 specifications, labeled as the SD40-2R. 6259 was rebuilt at Conrail's Altoona shops into a -2R in the same year and was renumbered to 6960, as it continued to pull heavier freights with more SD40s and other engines for 6 years, until being acquired by CSX and being renumbered again to 8869 after Conrail was split up between CSX and Norfolk Southern. Here, the engine was repainted in the well-known YN2 livery, as it pulled other mainline freights and trailed behind newer and more powerful GEs off of its home Pennsylvania trackage, but could be found all throughout the Northeastern CSX system and occasionally outside of it as foreign power. Eventually, the engine was stored in Waycross, Georgia around 2013, as surplus with an uncertain future, but thankfully the engine was purchased by National Railway Equipment, or NRE, who moved it to its Mount Vernon shops in Illinois for an experimental rebuild program. Here, the engine was refitted with a 16 645 E3B prime mover with DC-powered traction motors and independent axle control, and was classified as an SD40-4. It's also known as an SD40-4N, with the N representing the N-Force, as well as the NR33CDE-IAC, while promoting an increase of adhesion by up to 50% with its unique independent axle control, which is basically all-wheel drive for a locomotive. In addition to this unique classification, thus being the only SD40 to be registered as a -4 instead of a -3, it was given a blue and gold livery and was renumbered 4321, as it was even featured in its own promotional video from NRE advertising the model. Its first assignment was with BNSF for hump yard service in Galesburg, Illinois, and about 2 years later, the engine was repainted in a black and white livery with the letters NRE on its side for the Railway Interchange Expo up in Minneapolis. Afterwards, it demonstrated on the Wisconsin Southern Railway, where tests weren't as successful, then the Fort Worth and Western Railroad, as well as the Dallas, Garland, and Northeastern, and back to BNSF as it was recently sent back to NRE as of when this video was made, awaiting its next assignment. Even if the rebuild isn't the most successful or notable in railroading history, this engine's status as an SD40-4 serves as a unique example of a well-known locomotive class standing out with its unique classification while experimenting with some of the latest technology in the industry after being rebuilt twice. Thank you all for watching this episode of Remarkable Engines. The story of this SD40 in particular stands out from the thousands of SD40 variants produced, in which it was one of the first to be constructed and the only one to be reclassified into a -4 instead of being left as a -2R or a -3. Out of a large roster of SD40s in Conrail and later CSX, this unsuspecting X-Pen Central SD40 was selected to be rebuilt with the newest technology in the industry to demonstrate on railroads large and small alike throughout the nation. Thank you again for watching. Credit for all the photos used go to their respective photographers, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Have a good day.